Yes, it is my birthday, so please be a little kind. So Into the Wild, I'm going to take as literally as possible. In my sophomore year, I was going to Kutztown University. Yeah. In a very sticky roommate situation. Boyfriend had moved in of my roommate at the time, and in like a 300 square foot apartment. So that year was pretty rough for me, since everybody dropped out but me. So that spring, I'm trying to figure out what am I going to do. I'm like torn. My brother had since gone to Alaska to go to University of Fairbanks to get his engineering degree. I'm on the phone with him, telling him about my woes, not just my roommate, but guys, the whole spiel. Typical college stuff, I guess. And he goes, come up here, work here. Just don't work at a cannery or a fishery. So he said, go to your travel store before Expedia and Orbitz and all that stuff. So I go down to the Traveler store and I pick up an Alaska traveling magazine and I handwrite to the resorts. Denali, Fairbanks, all the ones we've heard of down here. And I handwrite them all, and to some obscure ones just because the names were interesting or whatever. And Denali National Park calls me in my apartment, my 300 square foot apartment. I haven't told anybody I even wanted to go. And they hire me on the job. And it's like okay pay, and I'm thinking, all right, Denali National Park, I'm going to be by the mountains. This is going to be great. A week before I go, I get this other phone call, Circle Hot Springs, Alaska. I'd never heard of it. And she tells me, the woman on the phone, Susan, there's a delay on the phone. It might be hard to have this conversation. And I didn't realize how much a delay on a phone call can be. You're cutting each other off constantly because you think they're waiting for you, but you're waiting for them. And she's telling me about this job. I'm going to work 6 days a week. I'll be, front desk. I'm going to be waitressing. I'm going to be pretty much everybody. There's 4 of us that are going to work there, 4 or 5. So I get off the phone with her, and I call my brother in Fairbanks, and I go, what is this Circle Hot Springs, Alaska? Like, what? Oh, definitely do that one. Nix the Denali, that's tourist trap. You don't want to go there. You'll get the real experience at this Circle place. And I'm like, all right, I still don't know where I'm going yet. So I call Susan back. We have this delayed, very labored conversation, and I'm asking her questions, and I don't know why. I think I was nervous. I asked her about taking a MAC card. And she just kind of laughed. Honey, there's no Mac machines here. Like, it's a 3-hour dirt road, one way in, one way out. There's nothing to buy. It's you and the 36 people that live in the neighborhood 8 miles down the road. That's it. Just come as you are. We direct deposit. You'll be fine. So I get on my plane. I called Nash Denali and I tell them I got this better offer, and they kind of laughed when I said where I was going, but I didn't really take that as a sign at the time. Maybe I should have. But so I get on my plane ride, Philly to Minneapolis, Minneapolis to Seattle, and Seattle, the people boarding the plane suddenly changed. It's peak season in Alaska, and everyone's got their guns when you can take them on the planes. And hunting season is starting up in Alaska in the summer. So then we arrive in Anchorage, and from Anchorage to Fairbanks is another flight, and this one's an 8-seater with me and all of the people with their guns, and I can see outside the plane, and that's when I started ordering my cocktails. And I think it was like hour 20 at this point. I had been awake, I'm scared, I'm freaked out. What am I doing? Was my brother done to me? And I land in Fairbanks, and my brother greets me at the plane, and maybe like 20 minutes go by, and he hands me off to the owner of Circle Hot Springs' daughter, who is going to be driving out the supplies for the week, which I couldn't really wrap my head around that you needed that. But so I get in the car, a minivan, her 3 small kids in tow, and I look down and there's a handgun in between us. I'm like, oh, where are we going? Like, this gun's just sitting out, there's little kids in the back, like, this doesn't seem safe. And so we're going to, I guess at that time, I don't even know where it was. I was so delusional at this point. It was about 23, 24 hours awake at this point. Like Costco's, BJ, I don't know what was up there. I know there's a Fred Meyer's in Fairbanks, but we got the supplies for the week, and we're making our trek out on the dirt road, and she's telling me stories about how people drive off this road all the time when they're going too fast, and we're going like 60 around these like hairpin turns. The kids are screaming in the back, the gun's sliding around at my feet, and I'm thinking, why do we need this gun? Like, this is still, I couldn't wrap my head around that. So we get to the hot springs. She kind of does her mother-daughter thing. The mother, Susan, the owner of the hot springs, kind of shows me the thing. And Circle Hot Springs, Alaska, I expected this hotel, and it's going to be fancy. Here, this building's a boat. They had a building they had floated down a river in Canada, from Canada to there. It was a government building there, so it was basically a big house with a bunch of rooms and 2 bathrooms on a floor. So not a hot springs, the last guy was kind of thinking of, but there was a natural hot springs that fed into a pool. So I met the owner, and she takes me out back and says, pick one of those cabins, come back in, the whole town's coming to meet you. All 36 people. They had heard the city girls coming up, so I'm exhausted, not really sure what's even going on, questioning whether I made the right decision and thinking, how would I even get out of here? The mail gets flown in, like there's just, you have to get a ride. So I pick my cabin, I let my stuff down, I walk back in, and they pretty much, it was like a processional at a wedding. Like I was stood in the lobby and all 36 came through, and you know, I'm from the Philly area, so I was a city girl, and I had to decide at that moment who did I want to be. They don't know me, so I decided to be myself. But you know, the same thing, what I learned is I went this long distance to get away from all my troubles, but the people up there were just like here. So the same thing up there, you know, into the wild is the same stuff that happens here. So thank you.